Hey everyone, Sycra here, and today I'm joined by Dekru, Alpaki, Bob, Nick, and Flavia. And we're going to be hanging out drawing, and you can join us too. And before that, I just wanted to go over last week's challenge for the Discord, which was to do self portraits. So we each did self-portrait. Well, not everyone did stuff because it's like, I think self-portraits are pretty, like, some people don't want to show what they look like. Um, so, you get fewer participants. But it's a good exercise. It's very, like, I don't know. For me, it's not fun. I don't like doing self-portraits, but especially if you use a mirror, it's very useful for learning about proportions or colors or values or whatever, everything. It's a difficult but good exercise. And yeah, we're gonna be doing this on like drawing on the Magma Studio, but we also have a Magma Studio that you can join if you're live. If you're watching this live, there's a link to join the viewer Magma. So that's that. All right. So for a topic for today, I was thinking about like we were talking in Discord, and I realized this topic of people not really thinking what they have to offer is valid comes up quite often. Sometimes it's in the realm of story where people might say, I don't have any good ideas. All I have, like, my life's not interesting. Or there's a fear of judgment, like, oh, people will, if I do this, people will think it's stupid, or people will look down on me, or they'll think, oh, that's just generic. And there's this fear, this shame as well, like fear of judgment, fear of shame, that seems to affect a lot of people, and it affects me too, where I will self-censor, or I'll think, well, this isn't good. But then often, when you actually think about your own tastes or your own judgment, like for instance, maybe you're afraid someone would look at what you do and judge you. Maybe you'd think, or you're afraid people will look at your work and think, oh, this is just cartoony and dumb. But would you, if you saw someone's work, think that? And usually the answer is no. So we're not even judging by our own standard of what we would like or dislike. It feels like we're judging using some invisible fake standard, some, not invisible, but some imaginary standard of what people would think of this. And usually that view is one we don't even respect too much. So, yeah, I thought maybe we could talk about that as a topic. What do you guys think?
I think it's a very good topic. I I am very sad when I see people sort of disregarding their own ideas for hypothetical, I don't know, bad outcomes that if they came to pass, they wouldn't actually be that bad. So.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I struggle with this a lot, and I think I was talking to you the other day about how, like, I had this sort of realization where I was trying to think, like, all these people around me have these, like, very complex storylines and characters and all these things that are, like, very deep and, like, emotionally meaningful. And I realized that I like that stuff sometimes, but I don't consume it often. It's, like, a rarity that I consume that, and most of the time, like, the stuff I'm watching is, like, goofy, makes no sense, full of puns and jokes and whatnot, and the games I play are never like super serious dialogue, story-driven games. They're usually either just focus on the gameplay or they're like comedy. And I'm like, wait a minute, if I don't even like this, why would I worry that I'm not making it?
Yeah.
What do you think makes people so afraid of going with their ideas and their stories?
I think it's that the judgment aspect. They think they will be judged. They think someone's gonna think what they do is stupid, or um, I don't know. There's so many different judgments. Like even with like this actually happens a lot from what I've seen with furry artists that aren't yet furry artists but kind of want to get into it, because there's like this stigma where it's considered like it's pretty meaned on. That's what they would say, right? Like it's meaned on, and so there'll be this thing of like, oh, I'm just doing this to make money, and
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but it's like it kind of looks like you like this. You just won't admit that you like this or enjoy it. So I think it's, yeah, just fear of judgment.
But it's so sad. It's so sad because, like, it actually makes me angry quite often, because the fear of what kind of judgment. So the people passing the judgment, it's gonna be 5 seconds of their day, and for you, the cost of, I don't know, fearing that judgment or making decisions based on the possibility of that judgment or the aftermath or something is gonna take so much longer to fight against. As just you would discard your own art that you're perhaps passionate about for the sake of someone's, I don't know, very offhanded, they won't think about it any longer comment. It's just very frustrating.
It's kind of like when people give advice on careers and stuff. It's like, you should go into this, or I heard you can make money with graphic design. Why don't you do that or something? And it's like they get to say the thing, but they don't actually have to live with it. It's like, wait,
Yeah.
so you just heard graphic design was a thing just now, like that someone told you this was a thing. You heard, like, I'm into art, and so you just figured, like, okay, let me help you by giving you this advice. But it's like you're not qualified, and also you don't have to suffer any of the consequences if this turns out to be a bad idea.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this for a bit, and it feels like it's connected to so many other things. I think it's even connected to, like, for example, when people ask questions about, like, what they should do, like, how they should practice all the time, and they're, like, not sure. It just seems like it's a thing about not really giving importance to what you think is good, being good, and giving all the importance to what other people think is good, I guess. So, like, I think that if you, like, I think you just have to work out. Like, for me, it was at this one point I realized that if I think something is good, or that, I don't know, I think is proper, or that fits me, then that is the truth. Like, that is the truth, because for me, that is what I want, and it's the truth. It's not false or anything like that. I don't have to go and ask someone else if that's good or not. Like, I don't know, like, this age, I see a lot of, I don't know, people who look into streamers and wait for a streamer to say what their opinion is and then agree with the streamer.
Yeah.
So yeah, like for me, I realized was that I can create my own truth. Like I don't have to have someone tell me, "Oh, okay, what you said makes sense." Like if I think it makes sense for me, then it makes sense. Then it's the truth for me. Like if for some reason, like in the future I'm wrong, then that's fine. Like I can correct this. Like I am the master of this, and it doesn't mean that I'm necessarily wrong right now. Like I'm probably like I'm okay. Like I'm doing fine right now because I think that's the good thing. And if in the future I learn something is wrong, then I can correct it when I decide it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's good.
So I also have this issue, not just with because I suffer from like this way of thinking, and it's for me it's not always just fear of judgment. It's also like judgment from myself because I feel like it's not always external judgment. It's like, okay, I'm gonna put all this time in to like make a joke, right? And it's like the work I'm making is like, okay, it's a joke then, and even though I mostly consume the lighthearted stuff and I enjoy it and whatnot, the things that like stick with me as like that I respect on like a deep level are not those same things, and I would like to create something that I also like respect on that level. Is where it sort of gets complicated for me.
Would you consider that self-censorship then? It's like,
I'm not sure. I don't know if it's exactly self censorship. It's just like maybe on some level, but it's more so just the idea of like allocating my time almost. Like if I'm going to spend a bunch of time making something, and is it going to be something that like, oh yeah, that was a really funny joke that I made in that one panel that one time, or is it going to be like, oh, I feel like I expressed some like deeper idea that other people could connect with, or that's like meaningful to me or something, you know? And I have that desire, but I don't have the desire to produce that type of thing, as at least in a project form, often.
yeah, yeah. Okay, do we have any questions from anyone or comments or anything yet?
We got a comment from David Carvalho. Does one of my favorite artists say that doubt is a great tool when controlled because it helps you spot your faults, but having too much doubt stops you from progressing?
Yeah. I don't.
I think a lot of these things are good tools up to a certain point. Like even narcissism, you could argue, is a very good tool to have, because if you don't have it, you don't make correct choices. But after a certain point, it becomes detrimental. I think for doubt, it's the same thing. Like how much are you being critical of yourself because you're actually seeing something, and how much are you being critical because you're anticipating something, and how much of that anticipation is fearful and how much is realistic and stuff. So
Thomas Murphy says, I went to college with a furry who would draw not safe for work art, but they were very open and owned it. And after the immediate shock of it, people just accepted it and didn't look twice at it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, we're afraid of this initial response, and sometimes it even happens, but it's not where it ends, and people usually don't care. Like, it's just, oh, okay, that's what you are. I think people in general like to have their expectations met, and when they meet you, they might have an expectation of what you are, and then if you betray that expectation, they get a bit, I don't know, what you would call it exactly, but there is a resistance to it. There's like it doesn't feel nice, I guess. But then once they accept and understand, then it goes away. So, because now their expectation is in line with who you are.
I think a lot of times we also think that something will be a lot bigger of a deal than it is, at least for other people's reactions. Like I think a lot of the time, other people will be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, it's maybe I don't know, maybe they'll say, like, okay, that's kind of interesting, but that's fine, I guess, you know." But before their reaction, we like super overthink, like, "Oh, what will they think?" You know, I think maybe it also ties into maybe having this thought that once you give out your like one impression of something about you, and that's gonna be the only one that everyone is gonna think about and gonna stick forever. Like, I don't think that's true. Like, you can change people's perception of you a lot more easy than I think most people think.
Yeah, I guess people do when because nowadays there's like this thing where um, people will express an opinion and then a bunch of people might not agree and then they'll just shun that person like, oh my god, I can't believe you support this thing, therefore you must be this and this, and then um, I'm not gonna listen to you anymore or something. There's a lot of like, if you're this, then if you believe this, you must also believe this other thing, or you must also
Yeah.
support this other thing. There's like a
Yeah. People like to infer because it's so hard to get to know someone nowadays. Like, you get a lot of information and bits and pieces, but it's so hard because we're not actually with each other to piece together what that person's about. And because of the self-censorship, people will tell you like maybe half of their thoughts at best, and you kind of have to figure out, well, yeah, but what are the risks? Because if they're problematic, I'm going to be problematic, but you're not really thinking about, is this really problematic, and who decides this, and what is problematic to me?
mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, you're definitely right. I think this is more of a problem with the internet. I think, like, it seems like everyone is super fast in assuming like a person is a certain way immediately. But I think that the people that you really care about, like their opinions, usually are people you probably have more interaction with. And I think with those people, you might have more chances to for them to actually know the whole whole you, I guess, instead of basing their whole opinion on just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Being
Okay,
really
so
quiet because someone is like, what's it called? Chopping wood very loudly with a chainsaw or whatever. But I was gonna just add quickly to that actually a thing I did notice on that topic is that the things that I post, I assume will always be regarded or like noted, I don't know, taken the wrong way. And or people would like, oh no, someone's gonna like psychoanalyze this and be like, oh, you're this person or that. And it has yet to happen. I mean, maybe people do it silently, but like I haven't gotten any like grief for any of the weird stuff that I've made in the past like 6 months or so, and it's actually been surprising. And I don't know, that's about all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's kind of like I used to be extremely self-conscious. I guess I still am to any form of judgment. Like, let's say even something very, very dumb. Like, let's say you went to an ice cream shop and they have like a bunch of different flavors. A part of me would even feel like, oh, what if I pick the wrong one? But then I was like thinking like, well, okay, so there's why would you be afraid of that? Oh, because like maybe other people will think my choice is like bad or disgusting or something. It's like, yeah, but enough people liked it that they made it an option. Like, there are enough people who like this thing that you can find it. Like, even if you're like, oh, I have these really strange tastes and I only look at this kind of art. It's like, so there are other people who also look at that art, or you wouldn't see it. Like, it exists because there are people who enjoy that.
Yeah. I think the brain has a way of doing. Go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead. I was just gonna read some more comments if there wasn't anything else.
I think we can do comments.
Okay, so Albrum says, I feel like quote quote soft launching your art slash story you're insecure about to just your close friends, then your more outer friends, etc. Doing it in steps gradually can help in not being embarrassed slash doubtful. IMO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really depends also what the people around you are like. Like, are you around people who are very judgmental? Because then you'll get feedback that is more judgmental. Are you and do you actually subscribe to the same tastes? I think this is also important. Like, you might like someone but not share the same tastes as them. So if they don't like something, it doesn't mean no one will like it. It just means that, they're not into this. And so it's also good to find the right audience. And also, I think not judging yourself too soon, because like with a story, for instance, you might think you have a dumb story idea, but for me, like the way I think, dumb story ideas are the first step of good story ideas. Like, you start with it not necessarily being a great idea, but then as time goes on, it becomes a good idea. IIS is coming out as enjoying furry art is a lot like coming out as LGBT. Yeah, I guess it's pretty similar. I never get this thing of ridicule. Like, I'm afraid of it, but I actually don't understand it. Ridiculing someone for their tastes. Like, why? It's just, yes, they like that thing and you don't. But, what good does ridicule do?
I've also had this thought recently that it's sort of like, if you just are yourself, it will just naturally filter all the people out who like aren't into the same things you are. And usually there's a lot of like overlap between things. So if you like some sort of like weird, edgy, scary movies, or like you're really into horror films, and you're also like, and that's just, you don't think about that, that's just a thing about you. But then say, oh, you're like, oh, do I get a tattoo because, I don't know, I'm really into tattoos and I'm really into whatever, but I wonder if people will judge me for it. It's like, well, the people who are like weirdos who like horror movies all the time, there's like probably an overlap with like horror movie enjoyers or like motorcyclists and tattoos, and if that's what you're into, then you'll probably find more people that you like in general.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, and then there's the safety and uniformity. I think this is again, back to what I was saying, you have to judge things quickly because you don't know. And the easiest way to judge someone as okay is if they're like you, because you know yourself and you can extrapolate, but that's so that's so faulty as a as a system, I feel like.
Yeah, I think the concept of shame is such a, I don't know, it's a strange thing where you're afraid of something that the only power it has is your fear. Like, if you're afraid of it, then it's scary, but if you're not, it's not. So, if you were like an exhibitionist and you care what other people think, that's what's stopping you. No, I guess the law is stopping you, and that's you can't just do stuff anywhere. So okay, no, that's a bad example. But yeah, a lot of times it's not really like the thing that's stopping you is just fear of judgment. But that fear is empty. It's like, okay, so I guess it's not if people actually disown you. And I've heard stories of this where someone might come out as gay and then their family doesn't accept them anymore, which is extremely sad. But I do think, in a way, it can be helpful to get rid of those people as well. Like,
Yeah.
okay, if this is what's going to get you judged, do you really want this person in your life if they're the type of person who would judge you for this?
Yeah, I think the conflict comes when the answer is yes. Like, oh, if you care about your parents, for example, and you do want them in your life, and they judge you, it's like, well, now you're torn. Or if you have like a very close friend, and well, okay, they might be prejudiced against this, and you really, really don't like this, and yes, it's telling of a bad trait of character, but oh, they've been loyal, they've been your friend for many years and stuff, and then oh, now they see you differently. I think that's gotta hurt a lot.
I think the whole parents example is maybe more different because maybe the person will be in a situation where it'll make their lives a lot harder if their parents like disown them or something. Like maybe they won't have a place to live, and that just kind of sucks. But if it's like if it's not as critical as that, I think then yeah, like getting rid of them or getting rid of these people who only judge because of something like that would probably be beneficial. It's just like unfortunate, I guess, that society seems to work that way sometimes. Kona says, I'm not even sure if we are in control of our own tastes. If not, then what someone likes is not in their control, and it's hard to judge them for something they can't control. Yeah, exactly. Like, judging people for things they can't control it's pretty lame. That bastard over there says, to some extent, I think ridicule is natural, as art communicates real values, e.g., I care about this more than that. If my art doesn't prompt some people to dislike it, was it really saying anything?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's fair.
I think the discussion of what is ridicule, I think that's interesting. Like,
what are your thoughts?
Why? Well, so I think the question of why people ridicule other people, I'm not sure. Like, I can't really say why, but I can think of one example is just think of the like super typical like a group of kids from school, and they all make fun of one other kid because of something. And I feel like in that situation, the kids are making fun of the other kids, probably because they are insecure themselves, and by ridiculing the other kid, it's kind of like they're reinforcing that they actually do fit in, I guess. Like it's feeding their sense of fitting in, so it's helping their own like insecureness. Because if you think about it, there's one thing that was interesting to me is that I remember reading. It was like it was a book about things you should do when interacting with other people to like, I don't know. I think it was that one that was called like How to Win Friends and
Influence
influence
enemy. Yeah.
people and win friends. Yeah, something like that. That like super old one. And it basically said that you should never talk bad of anyone like behind their backs or whatever. And one of the reasons, like there are many reasons why you shouldn't do that, but one of the reasons is that when you do that, the person you're talking to, this is like some other person you're talking, you're talking bad about someone who's not present, but the person who you're talking to, who you're pointing out the like bad things about this other people, what they will be thinking when you're saying all these bad things will be like, oh, well, like what are the bad things that I could have that this person could tell other people about? So it's kind of like it makes you look like someone who will like backstab other people. So I think it's kind of similar in this sense that for someone to be ridiculing other people, it's probably because they themselves are insecure about certain things. And that's why it occurs to them to do that, because it's kind of like they are reflecting what they think other people will think of them about the things that they're insecure about.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's this, like, I had this experience when I was growing up where my family was gossips a lot, and then, like, we'd have these family gatherings, and as soon as the person, like, one of the people left, everyone would start talking bad about them, and then everyone who was remaining was sort of, like, laughing, but the thing is, it's like, yeah, but when you leave, they're just going to talk bad about you as well. Like, it's so toxic of a thing to be that way.
Yeah, like definitely like it just becomes super sort of like you become really it's kind of like you're walking on eggshells. I think that's how you say it. Like you're always thinking, oh wait, is this gonna be good with like quote quote the group or whatever, or is this gonna be bad? Because it's like almost like a sort of very arbitrary thing whether something is gonna be quote quote good and something is gonna be something that you'll get ridicule about.
I think, like, Alpaki and I talk about subjects similar to this quite often. What we both, I think, come to the conclusion of is the works we like are actually the more crazy ones. Like, we like when people are out there and making interesting stuff. I think, like, probably most people here are of that kind. Where it's not stuff we would judge poorly. But then you don't use your judgment, you use what you think some other people would have as your standard. I think being true to your own values is very important as a thing to learn. It's like first learning what you actually value and then sort of being true to that. Do we have any more comments?
Thomas Murphy says, I remember when I started drawing life drawing of nude models, my family was like, that's kind of sus. But once I explained things, it was easier for them to understand why I was drawing nude models.
Yeah. What do they think? Like, what would be suspicious? Just that, like, oh, you're not going to this thing to draw, you're just going to look at naked people? Is that the...
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what would come to my mind first.
That is very strange.
That bastard over there says, guys, I need some advice. What is the best color to use?
Make everything purple. I think it usually works.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, so far, I think that's it for comments. Well, if anyone in the chat, you got any questions about art, you can ask them. We'll probably answer them.
Yeah. So going back to the thing with stories, there's this thing of, again, not really believing in what you have to say as being important, but not realizing that the reason your ideas are not, you might not think they're good or interesting, is just because you lived them, so you're very used to it. It's kind of like when you visit, if you travel to a place very far away from where you grew up, everything is much more interesting to you than anyone else. Like you might see, I remember when I went to Romania, for instance, I hadn't seen magpies, the black and white birds. I saw a lot of crows, a lot of pigeons, seagulls, eagles. Like we have bald eagles around Vancouver, but not magpies. So I never seen magpies, and they were really cool to me. I was like, whoa, there's this like really cool black and white bird, but that's because I'm not used to it. And then I could imagine someone else would be like, oh, this bird is really cool. And then I'll just be like, oh, but that's just and then I'll say, like, oh, that's just a cardinal. They're pretty common. Or that's just a blue jay. They're like pretty common. And it's like, well,
we have that, right? Where I'm very impressed by the birds in Canada that are very common.
Yeah, you're impressed by sparrows and stuff.
No, we have No, it's not the sparrows. They're called something else. They're not just sparrows, but sparrows are okay.
Finches? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. They had a...
So anyway, the point is whenever you come up with an idea, it's much less interesting if you base it on your own life because of your prejudice that this is common. Whereas it's only common to you or people in your area, I guess, people who grew up like you did. It's not necessarily common to everyone.
I had a similar experience recently with Florentine, who's on the server. He's from Austria, and he's really into Lana Del Rey, and talks about her a lot. And we were listening to some of her music together in the voice chat, and I was not interested, but he sees it as like very deep, and like emotional and stuff. And I thought, oh, it's she's like talking about all this stuff that seems commonplace to me. And eventually we're going through all the lyrics, and we realize that she grew up in a similar area to me, like very close, and she has my exact culture growing up. And so I realized that the reason I didn't like it was because it was so I'm so used to it, and also it just reminds me of the people I grew up around who I didn't really like, and like their mentalities. But to him, there's like some sort of like aspect of this like tragic freedom to American culture and this way of seeing the world that's very like pseudo-religious, and that's like very novel and interesting coming from where he is. And it never would have occurred to me that someone could find being some boring American person in the Northeast interesting, but it's true.
Well, I had that before I came to Canada. I thought Johnny Cash was like, whoa, he's so strange. Then I came to Canada, and in Princeton, just our first visit to the vet, there was a person in booth that I couldn't see who just sounded like and talked like Johnny Cash. What? Weird. Why are you here? Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we just live here."
It's in the same vein of like how many times like the people that are super into anime and stuff, and they're just like amazed when somebody walks down a Japanese street. But I'm sure to people in Japan, there's tons of anime where it's just people going to school and then walking down the street that looks just like outside of their house and whatnot, that they're like, okay, and what's the point? Like I don't get what's cool about this.
Yeah, like I think something that's kind of funny in that vein is like when I think about Japanese, a lot of times I think about phrases from anime that I'll hear often, and then that's like the Japanese that comes to mind. But I was thinking about how cringy I would find it if the same thing was done in the opposite way. Like, what if there was a Japanese person who just said lines that would be in an American cartoon or American TV show, and it would just be like, what? Like, why are you saying that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I got a story of a friend who used to. I guess he played a lot of Magic cards, but he like also kind of like traded them a lot. And it's funny because I remember using when we played Magic over here in Chile, all the cards we could buy, they were all in Spanish. And we always thought, this thing in Spanish sucks. I don't want this. We would try and get like English cards because they're a lot cooler or whatever. But he said that he had a really good business of getting a lot of cards, like buying a lot of cards from here and then going to China. And then all the people in China are like, oh, holy shit. It's like the Spanish cards are so cool. And they all wanted it for like, they would pay more than just a normal card. So he would sell all the cards there and then buy a bunch of cards in Chinese and then come back here. And all the people here would be like, oh, wow, look at those Chinese cards. They're like crazy, like magic scripts and on the cards or something. And they would all go crazy for those cards.
People will always chase stuff that looks special.
Yeah.
Okay. TBOT says, I'm just going to say it that way, it's easier. Do you guys ever do little voices for characters while you're drawing them and say things that the characters might say?
And if anyone says yes, they have to give a demonstration.
I don't yet, but sounds like maybe one day I would. But not yet. Okay. Addison says, how do I comic story related question? How do I just get started? I have so many ideas and things floating in my mind, but haven't made anything with them. So what I would do is just kind of put your ideas down first, like almost brainstorming. Just let yourself get some of those ideas out there, and then to see if there's common threads or things that pique your interest in it. Knowing about what you like it's really helpful for these things. When you have a sense of, okay, this is what I'm into, and that's what I like. Genres, for instance. What do you like? What do you wish you could have done, or what were you really interested in? If you have a lot of things, I mean, I guess that's good. It means you're probably very eclectic as a person. You have a lot of broad tastes, but I would kind of find like what is most interesting, and it really can be anything. Like the thing with stories is often we think the story has to be made first instead of like, and it's the same with a comic, like you think you need skills first and then you make the comic, as opposed to what I find it is that you make the comic to gain the skills to make the comic, or you make the story to gain the skills to make the story. Because your story's going to develop. Hopefully it doesn't stay where it was. So there's like, even with my stories, I've gone through so many iterations where my story that I'm very attached to, or one of the stories I'm very attached to, Affinity, it didn't start out like that at all. It started out like not a cool story, not even an original idea. It was like a pretty basic thing, but then you work on it more. And same with Kay, it started out very basic. You work on it more, and then it becomes an interesting thing after the fact.
I don't know. My iPad pencil has decided to stop working.
Oh,
Damn.
You have to charge it.
I don't know, because I charged it and it doesn't work still. Oh well. Give it a little break and then start over.
Well, you can take questions then.
I can take questions. Okay, the first question I see. How often do you sit around with friends and tell them why Kay could beat Goku in a fight?
I don't.
Yeah.
Couldn't.
We should do that.
What do you mean sit
Absolutely.
around with friends?
Couldn't beat
That would mean-
Goku in a fight at all.
Question from Elro here. What music do you like?
Aww.
Oh no.
Oh no, it's the music question. It's like the AI question. Well, I guess I can talk about that because I don't mind it. I tend to like folky music, like folk metal, and especially Mongolian music, like horse music. So there's a lot of that, and okay, a better question. What is the context of the drawing on screen? So I had this idea because they had the coronation of King Charles yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I think so. And I thought, like, well, yeah, let's have our own coronation, but it's like marmots underneath. So that is the story, and then it all went crazy from there.
It all went very well.
Yeah, I'm very happy with how it's turning out.
Kevin Liu says, any advice on finding your style?
Yeah, find people that are close to your style, that you really admire, and then let's say they're like 80% towards what you want to do. There's going to be a few things that are different. So you'll say, for instance, you might say to yourself, well, I really love everything about this person's style. And then it's like, okay, imagine you were them and had that ability. What would you do differently? So, someone said, how loyal are Canadians to the crown? It depends. There's like mostly not, but there are some people who get very into it. But yeah, going back to the style thing. So find someone who's very close to you, and then you'll see, like, if you could do exactly what they could do, if you had their skill, like just absolutely could do everything they could do, or if you were them, you would probably do some things differently. Okay, what are those things? And the way I think of it is, people think of styles that they appreciate, and they say, I don't want to do that style because that's the other artist's style. And I don't think of it that way. What I think of it is like, there's this future you, or even let's just say the realized you. So it's maybe in the future, but it's also derived from the past, who you are as a person. And the reason you like someone's style is because they are very close to what you are anyway, and it's just easier to see it in a version where it's more completed. So then you take the complete version and you find what's different. Like, it's almost like if you wanted to find someone who looks the same as you, and you find someone who's like really close, like, oh, you have the same basic eye shape as I have, or the same color skin, or the same height, or something. Like, you're trying to find a body double. But then what's different? Where if you were beside this person, people might be able to see, like, oh, actually, but this part's different. So is it the subject matter? Is it the colors? Is it like, you don't quite like the way they draw hands, or you kind of wish things were a little bit different? Maybe you don't like the shading. Maybe they do like cross hatching or something, and you're just, you're not a huge fan of that. What is it that is different? And because you have someone who's already very close, you could actually just use them as a stepping stone to get to where you need to be for yourself. Davi Carvalho says in the comic topic, it's really weird how artists are often considered as secondary contributors in stories, which is obviously absurd. Kind of. I do think it's bad considering they do most of the heavy lifting, but at the same time, I can understand how the idea is the main part of any story, like the way you feel about it, and the artist can contribute to that, but the writer as well. So I think it's very, both are important. Both the art and the writing are really important. I don't think of it as just like, oh, well, the writer did everything. It's like, well, the writer didn't draw the emotions and convey it. They wrote what the emotional thing should be, but they didn't necessarily draw it themselves. Could Yevsen asked, could Kay fight 100 babies in a fight? No. I don't think
Why
she'd
would
do
she?
that. I think she would just sit and do nothing. Thomas Murphy asked a question about the nude things. I would put nude models on my laptop for reference, so I think they thought it was more of a sexual thing. Oh, okay, so you're not talking about going to life drawing, like, classes or something. That might have been more what you were talking about. Definitely not Nick asks, do you still have energy to draw after commission work? I am struggling with being mentally/creatively drained from my work. Yeah, I have the same issue. I don't think I can give a good answer because I also get mentally drained from doing commission work. One of the things I try to do is start the day with something of my own, something personal, so that I have done something that's not just like commissions. Do we have anything else? Neogen says it's actually very rare to find a really good writer and artist in one. Can only think of a few. Yeah, because it's very hard. It's hard to do both. Like, they're huge disciplines, writing, and to be able to do both well, it's a lot. EC says, I think it's important to conceptualize a commission as something you yourself accepted, like picking a prompt from a challenge, only you got paid to do it. Yeah, that can help. Sometimes it's also good to think the other way, because I find for myself, I did that initially, and then I ran into problems when the client would ask me to do stuff that I didn't agree with. Like, the decisions were like, but that's gonna make the image worse. And then I would get very offended, or I don't know, butthurt or something over it. It just was like, it hurts to care and then have your care not really, how would you say, like, given attention or something. Or not acknowledged per se. No, it's more like you care about the thing so much and you put yourself into it. So if someone changes that thing or destroys that thing, it hurts.
Yeah.
I think if it's private commissions, that's fine. Usually you don't run into that. I haven't run into that too much with private commissions. But when you're working for a company for a project, it's often that way. Where you might come up with an idea you find is good, and then it's not actually realized in the way you wanted it to be.
Right.
Yeah, I found that very disheartening with a lot of things where I'd have, in my short foray with commissions, I have a lot of people, or a couple people, who would just ask for revision after revision before I knew to just not allow them to do that. On things that were just like, oh, I want the composition to not flow at all. I want people on equal ground. I don't want, let's see, they have like very particulars with their characters. So it's like, if I try to make like a dynamic scene, it's like, oh, well, this one has more power over the other, but obviously it would be this way because of the way they relate, which I didn't tell you before asking you to make this commission. It's like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And disheartening, for sure.
Do we have any more comments? Let's see. EC says, I find this allows me to frame commission work as something I have agency and meaningful input into. Playful space. Yep. Yeah, I think that definitely helps, and sometimes you can pull it off, but sometimes you just... It's kind of like the art director determines what goes, and you don't. It's like, well, you can try your best and give your best idea of, you know, this is what I want it to be, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's gonna happen. sometimes if you're stuck with ideas of how to do something, starting with cliches can be really effective, because it's almost like it's easier to do a paint over on a bad piece of art than it is to do a paint over on a good piece of art, or an art that's a piece that's like very close to your level. It's actually easier to work with something that's quite distant from your current ability, where you're able to see mistakes. So sometimes starting with cliches can be a very useful way of just getting started, period, where you, okay, let's say I start with any kind of cliche for a horror thing. It's very easy to flip that, because then you just take the cliche aspect and you make it not whatever it is. Like, you can just make it the opposite, and then it just opens up possibilities. Trying to think of an example. Okay, so for instance, with Wraith, I had the idea of this typical story with it has like gods and goddesses, and then there's a main character who's really buff and strong, and then it's like, okay, so normally the expectation would be that the buff strong person is a hero, and they're buff and strong because they're very heroic and strong. And then my idea for Wraith was that, what if he's buff and strong because he's not confident, or he doesn't like fighting, and he just wants to use his body as a signal, like, don't mess with me, I'm big and strong, but he's not really. So with Wraith, when he gets in a fight, he just wants to run away. Like, that's his thing. Like, escape is his way of battle. But it's a basic idea that's then flipped, right? Like, what is the expectation? Oh, you expect the hero to fight. It's like, what does he do? His whole thing is to escape. Like, run away, I don't want to fight. So sometimes it's very helpful to start with a quote-unquote bad idea and then work with that idea. Like, just do a quick flip and then work with it.
So, question from Igor Araujo. I'm trying to get better at design, characters, vehicles, environments, costumes, etc., but I'm not improving. Is it lack of fundamentals, or do I need to improve my visual library? If so, how to do it?
It's hard to say without seeing what your work looks like. To just say, is it lack of fundamentals? I don't know. If I saw your work and then I saw obvious perspective issues, then it would be like, yeah, okay, maybe work on your perspective. And is it lack of visual library? Again, I don't know, but how to do it in terms of improving your visual library, I would say one thing is to look at more art, and the other thing is to look at more life. So try to look at how things are made. It's one of the reasons I find that concept artists often begin with something that already exists, or a few things that exist, and sort of try and mush them together. I think it's an okay strategy. I don't think it's the best strategy, because in the end, you're making a hodgepodge out of things that may not need to go together. It's like, oh, this is an interesting design, but does it make sense for the place it's in? So for instance, you might say, well, I'm going to combine a woolly mammoth with a bear and a scorpion. And then it's like, okay, and what is your story? Oh, it's this desert thing, and everyone's like super hot. And then it's like, yes, but you've created this very hairy scorpion thing. Like, the scorpion, sure, but the woolly mammoth part of it makes no sense for a desert. It would overheat. So it's like, well, you also have to consider the world itself and use that to determine things. So research can help. and clarifying what your world is. So, for instance, if I wanted to do a desert-based thing, I would look up the types of animals, the flora and fauna of a desert, and try and see how it works. And these plants function with very little water, or maybe they only bloom after rainfall that happens very infrequently. You try and break things down into the scientific part of it, and then it can really help to generate better ideas, because now you're working with something as opposed to just visuals. Like, I'm just trying to find cool shapes, or I'm just trying to find appealing distribution of small, large, and medium shapes. It's like, okay, that's fair, but on what? Like, what is getting that treatment? Why would it be this way? Yeah. Thomas Murphy says, sounds like King from One Punch Man. Yeah. I've been reading One Punch Man again, the manga, and yeah, it's kind of like that. A little different, because I think his thing is about... well, I won't spoil it. Anyway, Noctilon's Campfire says, does playing video games help expand your visual library too? It can. I think it really depends on what type of person you are, but I find that, yeah, it does. It definitely does. It depends what type of game you're playing. So for me, if I'm working on K, I like to play Cyberpunk and Outer Worlds, because they are both sort of sci-fi with similar things in terms of the visuals. So Igor, so if I want to design a robot, for example, I need to know how it works mechanically. Yeah, a little bit. Not fundamentally. Like, you don't need to be able to build it yourself. But a general sense of understanding how joints work is really useful, because you can apply that to mechs. You can apply it to pretty much anything. It's like understanding, okay, here's a ball joint, and that allows me to rotate a thing in many different angles. Or here's a hinge joint, and that's very limited, but it goes up and like it has one fixed movement. So the elbow is like a hinge, but the wrist is more like a ball joint. The shoulder is more a ball joint. The hips are more of a ball joint, but the knees are again a hinging type movement. So they don't move that much in terms of articulation. It can only move on one axis. But then because it's attached to a ball joint on the other end, on the shoulder, like with the hip, let's say the hip and the knee, the hip can swivel a lot, and then the knee cannot, but you still can get a lot of places where you could move because of the combination of the two. Michael, still can't believe Sycra's back. I've been back forever. This is the 17th week of these streams. So what I've noticed is a lot of people aren't getting notifications in YouTube, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be notifying people. I don't know if it would help to click the bell icon. Personally, I've never done that, but I wonder if that's something I should be telling people to do.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the times you kind of interpret it as, oh, I guess people don't like these, but like more and more, it's like, well, they don't know about it.
Yeah, because my first go-to assumption is that people do know about it but aren't interested, instead of the more likely people don't know about it. EC says the bell 100% helps. Okay, good to know.
So click your bells, everyone.
Yeah, if you don't want to miss out on the next Sycra whatever, click on the bell and be sure to smash the like button. Huh?
You're not supposed to say whatever.
Whatever? What do you mean, whatever?
He said the next strike is Sycra, whatever.
Oh,
It's fine though. He said smash, so that's good.
Yeah. That's good. That's
or gently molest the like button.
no, you're going too far now.
Neogen asks, what is your opinion on art YouTube shorts? I think they're good. I think it seems to be a very good thing. It's actually very difficult to make a short because you're compressing so much information into like a very succinct couple minutes. So I think it's difficult. I find it very hard for me to think in that way because I always elaborate. I always am like super long-winded, which a lot of people don't like. But like I will keep going and going and going to explain like, well, if I think about a topic, I tend to think like, okay, well, this part's true, but there is this exception that I feel I should address. El here says, I hope the like button is not underage. No. So if YouTube came out in, 2005? Then it's 5 plus 13, 18. It's legal. Easy says, if you have the bell enabled, YouTube actually sends a reminder on your front page that there will be a stream, usually a day or more ahead of time. So even if for forgetful person, I don't miss the show. Oh, that's very good. Yeah, I know Cynics is going to be doing YouTube Shorts, and it's very good. I think it's very useful to get in and out with information. I guess it just depends what type of information you're trying to convey. Because if I could give an eyelash tutorial in a YouTube short, for instance. Like, how to make eyelashes using the letter W. Okay. And that's it. Just leave it at that. But then, even when I say that, a part of me is like, yeah, but there's also this other way where you use horizontal lines to convey the shape of eyelashes instead of using, like, vertical W shapes. And that's more for a close-up view. And so then I'll think, oh yeah, an eyelash tutorial is kind of a complicated thing. And then I'll bloat it. So, I don't know. Maybe I can try. I don't know. Yeah, there's no consent, Macchio. It's not good. Don't hit the like button. What did it do to deserve to be hit? Or smashed? Or gently caressed? Or whatever, touched? Oh yeah, that's right. I used to be a star rating system, though. Yeah, that's true.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Yeah, YouTube used to have a star rating.
Yeah, it would be like 4 or 5 stars. I don't remember.
Oh wow,
I think it was
I
5
had no idea.
stars.
Yeah, 5 stars. Yeah. Addison says, a ton of people have been messaging me after your previous video. Oh, what did they say? I hope they like your art. Because it's very good. Addison is a regular on the Discords, doing some great work.
Yeah.
Very cute and nice.
And sexy.
Elro here asks, are you thinking of making 3D tutorials? I think you might have a better grasp on what is actually needed for comic making and art. I wish I did have enough of a grasp, because I have such a rudimentary understanding, and a lot of my things are like, I don't actually know how to do this. Like, I don't know how to texture a thing. I only know, like, basic tools, and if they mess up, I usually solve it by trial and error. Just like, what if I do this? What if I do this? What if I do this? But I don't use 3D too much. But maybe. Okay, Dadabe asks, I'm beginning to learn to paint landscapes, but I would like them to have a traditional feel rather than digital. How can I achieve that? Do I learn traditional techniques and apply them to digital? You can. Brushes help a lot to get, like, using textured brushes and stuff can really help. It also depends what program you're using. Because I know Procreate's pretty good at actually replicating certain traditional things. With Photoshop, yeah, it depends what brushes you use, really. Because if you use a hard round brush, it's a little bit difficult to escape that digital feel. Like, it will look fairly digital. Starting with textured backgrounds, a lot of programs have specific brushes that replicate. What was a program where it's like, is it Rebel that looks traditional?
Yeah. Rebel.
Yeah, there's this program called Rebel, which is Rebelle, which can look more traditional. So I don't know that necessarily you have to learn traditional techniques. You could. Like, there's ways of mixing paint in a digital way that's similar to traditional, where you can just demonstrate it. Okay, so let's say I wanted to mix this color with this color. So you just lower your opacity and you select some of this, put it in, select some of that, and then you like color pick, and then you can like find mixtures between, like just as if you were doing it traditionally. And then you just make like, you can make palettes out of mixing colors. Like, let's say you had yellow as well, like there. Okay, and then you can just mix, you know, some of that and make these tones, and then use these colors. See how they're more harmonized because I'm using a limited color palette. So I can say like, well, I want this color, but a little more reddish. So I put some red into it, and then there, it's more of that. And then, oh, I want that, but a bit more yellow. Because that's kind of how you paint traditionally, is you mix stuff and then you sort of bleed one, like, oh, you adjust, like, it needs to be a bit more blue, so you add a little blue, and then it needs to have a bit more white, and you can do it that way. So it's very useful if you're going the traditional route. IIS says adding filters like chromatic aberration and noise can make it look like it was scanned in a little bit. I think chromatic aberration does feel very digital to me. I feel like it replicates more of a photo effect as opposed to, or like there's certain techniques that represent film effects rather than traditional painting. Yeah. But hopefully that helps. Did I miss anything?
Mike from Poland says, which non-digital technique gives you the most fun?
I think oil painting is pretty fun. I haven't done it in a long time, but it's pretty fun. But it's also difficult, so some parts of it are really not fun. Cleaning brushes is not fun.
Yeah.
Igor says, I'm also writing a sci-fi story and playing Mass Effect. It really helps me inspired to draw and write. Yeah, it's a useful thing. Mass Effect has a very specific design language. Javo Art says Bob has such a cool art style. Yes,
He does.
he does.
Thank you.
I think everyone here has a cool art style. Everyone who's painting. Stalker became a member for 3 months. Great, cool, welcome. I don't know if that means you renewed a previous member or whatever, but that's great. So now you can gain access to the Discord and also participate in challenges if you want and stuff. It's cool. And you also get like emotes, I think, that people can use. I don't know. I'm so out of things that I don't know how the cool kids do stuff these days. Baron von Tacocat says, respect to Bob. Yeah, most people are very impressed and amazed, including myself, by Bob. The only one who's not impressed by Bob is Bob himself.
Well, I just have such stiff competition with all these other amazing artists now, so what can I say?
Yeah. Does Bob post anywhere? Bob, do you post anywhere?
I post on Instagram.
Oh my
Search up
gosh.
Bob Made Bag Instagram.
Bob posts on Instagram. Is that your main? Do you like tweet? Do you tweet? Is that a thing?
No. I used to have Twitter, but I
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Cool. Well, we have like 6 minutes, so anyone else want to add anything? Any thoughts? The gray ones remind me of the there were things called putties, I think, in Power Rangers, and they were gray. Was that like the hilly churls of Power Rangers?
I've been introduced to Power Rangers.
IAS says Honkai Star Rail has been super inspirational to me. I think just playing, reading, watching stuff is the best way to fix writer's block. Oh, that's cool. I've not played that game yet. Definitely not Nick says, do you think creating a model based on years of your own commission work to help color render commissions would be bad/immoral? Do you think creating a model? Oh, like an AI model? No,
I think that-
because it's
I
your
mean-
own work. Wait, yeah, can you clarify if you mean an AI model or what kind of model do you mean? I don't think it's immoral or bad. I think it could it could hinder your growth in some ways if you become reliant on it, but that also could speed things up. Yeah, so it's an AI model. I don't think it's bad. Like, it's your own stuff. It's just automated. Thomas Murphy says, I've recently been watching a guy called Meat Canyon. He makes really strange animations. You should check it out. Okay, we'll look it up. AAS says, it's so easy to get hung up on trying to magically poof some completely original idea onto a page. Just start with something similar. Yeah, just let your ideas evolve, I would say. Like, I think good ideas take a long time, and it's fine. Like, one of the reasons it takes me so long to finish my stories are just how long it takes to have good ideas. Like, okay ideas are pretty easy, but really good ideas, I feel like they take a combination of life experience and also processing. You could do it formulaically. Like, you could just say, I'm going to do a hero's journey, and there's going to be 5 acts, and do it in a very traditional formulaic way, which is the same as like making music. You could make pop music and just do it based on formulas and say, okay, it's going to be, you know, a 3-minute long piece. There's going to be the chorus coming in at this bar. There's going to be this much intro and stuff. And I personally don't like working that way, but it is effective. But I don't think it makes as, like, I don't know. I don't like working based on formulas so much. But it is useful. So I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just not my personal taste to do that. But anyway, yeah, when you have something to work with, it can be much easier to do anything than if you have this like blank. You don't know exactly what you're doing. It's so much easier to modify something than to create something from nothing. That's why laying down construction sketch immediately upgrades the final drawing. Yeah, like putting anything down on a page, especially digitally, because you can do anything and then just manipulate it. It can really help to just start with something and then work off it. Even if you don't like it, you now know what you don't like, right? So you can erase that, or you can question what it is that you don't like about it. Because there is the fear of using, there's like a fear of being judged, and that might hold you back, but there's also your own personal distaste, which you should pay attention to. So the judgment thing where it's negative, I feel like, is when it's someone else's opinion and not yours. But where it's positive is when it is your opinion and your values. So maybe you might think like, well, I have this idea, but it's generic and that makes me not like it. Okay, that's not necessarily a that you're afraid society will think it's generic. Maybe there's just like you don't like it, and then you can ask yourself, what don't I like about it? Maybe you think, well, it's similar to this other thing that felt a bit shallow to me. It's like, why did it feel shallow? Oh, maybe there wasn't enough conflict between the characters, or the hero gained power too easily and it didn't make sense. There was no training period. And then you're like, okay, so in mine, I actually want to add that. I want to add that training period. I want to add things that bothered me about this thing that I didn't like. So again, that can be helpful, and having a thing down lets you now judge it, analyze it. And Makio says, when I draw for my comic, I find it helps me to put all my ideas on normal printer paper with a pen so that I don't feel pressured to make it look good and I can be more creative. Yeah, I like to work on a computer for the reason that I can just like erase stuff or fix it very quickly. It's just easy to iterate. And if I want to make new stuff, but I'm not really sure, what I can do is I copy and paste the thing and then just rewrite it, but I have the original right there, and then I can look between the two and like, okay, do I like this better or worse? And then if I like it, if I'm not really sure, but I think I like it better, I make the text grayed out and I put a strike through it. So it's like, now I'm not using this, but then I can always go back to it and read in case, like, oh, maybe it was better, or I want to run it by other people. But all right, looks like that's all we have time for. I want to go ahead and thank my extremely noisy guests. They're just so loud. always jumping in with their. I want to thank my guests, Flavia, Bob, Dekru, Alpaki, and Nick. And thanks you guys for watching. If you're viewing this live, hello and bye. And if you're viewing this, bye anyway. Whatever, it doesn't matter whether it's live or not. Take care. Bye.